Oh my God, Southgate actually did it. No Maguire, no Grealish. Thank God England might actually have a chance in the Euros. All right, welcome everyone to the American Blues Podcast. This is your host, Terry Lee. Let's talk about the big news that dropped out today from the England squad, which is Gareth Southgate has selected the final list of players for England. And I would have to say it's unexpected. I did not think he would have the balls to not include, some of the big players from the last set of Euros and World Cups, especially Harry Maguire, he's been so publicly behind for the last 2 years for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I think Harry Maguire is absolutely atrocious. I think if he played in this tournament, I would have said there's no chance England would win. So big calls, good on Gareth. Thank God he actually finally saw the light. But let's talk about the squad in general. Actually, before we do that, like, comment, subscribe. It helps me out tremendously. If you could do me that big favor, thank you. Now, let's go over the squad. All right, so we got the goalies, which is not unexpected. You got Ramsdale, Pickford, Henderson. Now, obviously, Pickford's going to start. I don't think Pickford is that good. He makes a lot of mistakes for Everton. But unfortunately, or fortunately, in an England shirt, he actually hasn't really made that many mistakes. And I think both Ramsdale and Henderson are easily great backups, and they're ready to go if Pickford starts to show some wobbliness during the tournament. For defenders, this is, I think, the weakest part of the England squad. So I think of the players that I have confidence in, it's really only John Stones and Kyle Walker. That's it. That's not good. That is half our defense, and Stones is injury prone. Walker is getting up there in age, even though he's still extremely fast, still good at defending, and just so experienced. Trippier, I think, had kind of a bad season overall, so he's kind of an unknown in this tournament. He's been really good in the past. And then if we play Trent, then we really don't need a set-piece specialist like him anymore. So he's also, Shaw, not fit. I don't know if he'll really even be fit for this tournament. And then for all the rest of the defenders, they just don't really have any good international experience apart from Joe Gomez. And I just don't really have that much confidence in any of them. So I think defense is obviously England's weakest part, but hopefully the strength in midfield and forwards can really make up for that. So onto the midfield, super strong. You have Declan Rice, Gallagher. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I thought was a little bit of a surprising inclusion. I didn't think he would be fit in time, but I think he's a class player. I think midfield's a good position for him, especially if he has someone like Rice or Mainu who's more used to just sitting back and defending and covering ground. I think that allows Trent more freedom to do what he's good at, which is to pick out passes, crosses, set pieces. I think he's a really good addition. And then there's another young 18-year-old midfielder who I honestly don't know all that much about, but I'm happy with our midfield. And then, of course, forwards. Man, we have one of the most stacked forwards in all of Europe. I think it's incredible. I think the only difficulty is finding who the best combination is going to be. And right now, I don't think Southgate knows, just because a lot of these players are pretty new to the England squad. They haven't had that much time to play and gel together. But of course, we got Kane. Kane is Kane. He's going to be great. He's great at build-up, assist, shooting. He's just good at everything. And then you have Bellingham, Foden, Palmer, who I think are the standouts, who I think should be starting. And then you got Watkins, Saka, Eze, Gordon. I think those are fantastic subs. They each have their strengths. And then Tony and Bowen, I just don't think those two guys are going to really get that much game time. I'd be surprised if they even came on as subs at all. But I think the big decision, of course, is, there's a few gimmies. Kane's going to start, Bellingham's going to start, Foden's going to start. You can't not start those three. You would be insane to not start those three. But then the question becomes, then who plays on the right? Is it going to be Palmer? Is it going to be Saka? I think if you just go based on form and overall quality, I think you have to go with Palmer. Yes, Saka has that international experience, but I would say he's dropped off a bit this season. And Palmer just looks so good every time he's on the pitch. He has that something extra that Saka doesn't, which is he's able to link up really well. He has that eye for the final pass, and of course, he can shoot. I also really like Gordon as an option on the left wing. I think he's had a fantastic season with Newcastle. He's got pace, he can dribble, and of course, he can shoot. He can come inside, he can go outside, he can cross, he can do everything. And then Ollie Watkins, I think, is amazing backup for Kane. Kane is getting up there in age. Hopefully, he can stay fit throughout the whole tournament. But Ollie Watkins is pure class. He can score, he can assist. Just a great overall backup option. And of course, if we really need Tony behind him, then sure. But I don't think Tony's had that good of a season at all at Brentford. His stats really haven't been that good. Overall, I'm way more positive about this squad than I was before, especially when we weren't sure if Maguire was going to be in, Grealish, or Sterling. Now, I will say I was a little bit surprised that Grealish was left out. He did have an off season this year, but it's basically a question of who's better, Grealish or Gordon. Grealish has that experience, Gordon does not. So on one hand, I am really glad that it seems like Southgate is really just going off of merit and who's been on fire this season, who's been good, and probably who's been good in training and in the, all the friendly games. But I still think having some experience is really important, especially in such a big stage in the Euros. You just can't ever replace experience. And you've seen that time and time again with big upcoming teams with so much talent. But then when they get on that big stage against a team that's experienced, they tend to falter. One thing that I am surprised about, that I have mixed feelings, is Reece James. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that Southgate did not even think about putting Reece James in the squad. I know they've had their beef, especially since early in the season. Reece James decided to not participate in a friendly because he wasn't fully fit and he didn't want to get injured again. And Southgate basically publicly said that against him. And I think he's held a grudge against him ever since. I think Reece James deserves to be in this squad, especially since we really only have Kyle Walker on that right side. If he gets injured, we're completely screwed. So I think having Reece James there would have been way better than having either Gomez or Guehi. But, it is what it is. On the other hand, I can also say from a Chelsea fan standpoint, I'm not too against it because he is injury prone. I would rather him get a full rest this summer, start preseason strong, and my God, please don't get injured this season and just be there. That's all I want from Reece James. But I do feel really bad for him. I think he's still one of the best right backs in the country, and it's an absolute shame that he wasn't even looked at for the England squad. I think that's ridiculous. And then finally, I'm going to put up my preliminary bracket. This is, I joined a league with some friends just to see, we throw a little bit of money in the pot, just see how well we do. So here are my predictions. I'll list out the big ones. I think the final is going to be Germany versus England. I never do well at these predictions, to be honest. I always predict with the heart, not with the brain. But I do think England has the quality to be in the finals, and I do think they have the quality to beat this German team, which is getting better, but not that great. And then I think even though Bellingham did drop off second half of the season for Real Madrid, I think he's just so damn good. He's got so much class. I think he's going to be the player of the tournament. I think he's going to be the young player of the tournament. And I also think that Kane is going to be top scorer. So, I could be eating my words just a few weeks from now, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm super excited about the Euros. I'm definitely in a withdrawal from having a complete lack of games the past few weeks. I've been just living off scraps and transfer news and Euro news, but we're about to get a full summer of games ahead with the Euros, then Copa, and then I also love the Olympics and just the majority of the Summer Olympics I like to watch. So it's going to be a really fun-filled summer of sports watching. Can't wait to start. See you guys next time. Peace.